We are doing our second version of what I've done today. I did one hangout early with my brother today. It was kind of fun. We touched base on a lot of New York sports in general. Right now, I got my guest, which I'm loving the fact that he's becoming a regular on this show. I love having him. He brings a lot of facts, and him and I have a good chemistry. We can agree and disagree, and still be able to just be, comrade Jets fan. So here we go. Young J00, go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Yes, hello everyone. Everyone that follows me, everyone that follows Nick Bros TV. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen. As you guys know, I do videos. Young J00 is my channel. You can also follow me at Young J000. That's 3 zeros on Twitter. I also do a podcast called Let's Talk Jets with CBS NY sports writer Tyson Roush. Go ahead and follow us on Talk Jets Radio. On Twitter. You can also look up Long Beach Joe on Facebook. That's our Facebook page. I run that. We both run all of social media. And listen to our show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Blog Talk Radio. Again, you can search Let's Talk Jets. If you follow us on our Facebook, if you follow us on our social media, you'll be able to see the show. It's a show just about everything about the Jets, man. Our front office, our moves. It's a weekly show. We talk to players. We've had Calvin Pryor, Tony Richardson, many Jets players on, and we just have fun. We talk to callers, any callers that call in. We talk about the draft. We talk about the team. We talk about everything. So, just definitely check those things out when you guys can, and listen to the show when you guys can. So, thank everybody just for taking the time out to listen.
Yeah, and guys, please go watch that podcast, listen to that podcast, because I've heard a lot of Jets podcasts here or there, but they do a really good job of covering it. What it comes down to when they do it, they just give you a lot of facts. I mean, they look at things in a whole different perspective. So make sure you check them out. Joe, let's talk draft. Probably one of the best drafts I have seen as a Jets fan. You'll appreciate this when I say that, since the day we drafted Chad Pennington. I don't consider Pennington as one of our best quarterbacks, just because I hated the way his career ended. I still have that sour taste in my mouth. But overall, I mean, facts being facts, he did a really good job for us. And Pennington's actually the type of guy, and I don't want to get off topic, but he's the type of guy that's been sticking with the franchise to this day. He does a lot of things with the team, and still very Jets involved. So the draft here, a lot of people thought, we're going to go get Amari Cooper. I know you and I spoke a couple of weeks ago. We talked about maybe an offensive lineman, but you say maybe not first round, maybe second round might have been more necessary. I'm a USC guy. You know that I wanted Leonard Williams. Now, Leonard Williams was not a need. It's definitely a want that can make your defensive line much stronger than it is. And at the same time, we had Muhammad Wilkerson question mark. So when Leonard Williams dropped down to us, Mike McKagan even came out and said, you know what? At the time, he was the best player to take. Joe, Leonard Williams, New York Jets, what was your reaction?
I was mind blown, absolutely mind blown. Like I couldn't believe that he slipped to 6 at all. My guy Vic Beasley was still there, but I mean, once I saw that Williams' name was still there, I'm like, there's no way we can pass on this kid. I love it. I love the pick. I think we got the best player on the board. I think we got the best player in the draft. Like there's no doubt in my mind that that's what happened. With that pick, I mean, this kid can literally. I'm an SC guy too, so we're on the we're on the same page here.
Right on.
Yeah, this kid literally can play almost damn near any position on the line, and that's what's crazy about him, is he's so versatile. If you look at all his scouting reports, if you watch them, even if you look at his kind of his player comparison, comparison is Muhammad Wilkerson, a guy that you can put in different techniques and he's going to flourish. I mean, like you said, you watch SC, I watch SC. He was dominant. Like he was dominant at every position. He was dominant. And what's crazy is, again, if you talk to scouts or you talk to his coaches, dude, they're saying that this is not even the best that he can be. This is like maybe 60% of what would become. You know what I mean? So it's like, whoa, this kid's gonna get better. So I like the pick, not just from the standpoint of talent, okay? Because Amari Cooper and him, you could say were arguably the best players in the draft, but you could say that he's more complete at his position at this point. So he was the best player in the draft. But then you also kind of got to look at the Muhammad Wilkerson stuff, where he's not signed yet, but it's still a question mark, like you said. There's still question marks.
Now.
Exactly. Exactly. But with the pick of Leonard Williams, it kind of eases you out a little bit, because we're going to have time to build this kid. And, if Muhammad walks, if he does, this could be his replacement, so that the fall isn't that hard. The hole won't be so big if you can replace him with this guy. Something I do want to say, and we're probably going to touch on this, but something I do want to say is a lot of fans are already talking about, all right, well, we got Leonard Williams, let's get rid of Muhammad Wilkerson.
No.
Yeah, exactly. No, don't do that, and don't be stupid, okay? Muhammad Wilkerson is still, like I said, a top 5 lineman in this league, top 5 defensive lineman, hands down. This kid just adds to the weapons on the shelf. That's all he does. He adds to the weapons at this point. You still got to work him in. Usually linemen take a little time. This kid's going to be able to work with Muhammad, get in the rotation, be big in the rotation, and seal up gaps and different things like that. But just because we drafted this kid doesn't mean you get rid of Muhammad Wilkerson. That's just foolish.
No, I agree. Here's the thing is, when it comes down to it, even if it turns out into that same situation with Revis where he's constantly flirting with you, we learned our lesson. Pay the guy what he deserves. I'm not saying go all out. I'm not saying that, but pay him for what he's worth. Now, Todd Bowles has come out on numerous occasions, especially after we drafted Leonard Williams. A lot of people ask, are you going to go to the 4-3? He said, no, I'm still strictly going to stay with the 3-4. But I can't see that Todd Bowles being in his rookie year. He's going to try things. I mean, I can totally see Todd Bowles' mindset being changed from now till early September. But that all kind of changes if we, get Muhammad Wilkerson or not. Joe, you did mention something about Leonard Williams and how he's one of the biggest or best players in the draft. By far, a lot of people voted him to be the best player. You and I both follow USC, and I don't want to sound biased, but since I follow the guy, I know what he's all about. Leonard Williams and Amari Cooper, those two players I feel like are NFL ready, meaning first year I feel like they can come into the league and make a difference. Leonard Williams' speed is, right off the line, reminds me of, I might be a little fabricating this a little bit, but it reminds me of Michael Strahan. Very fast, right at the line, and he's able to make some moves. He's got good footing and stuff like that. He's able to make those moves. Do you think that shoulder is a concern? And a lot of teams have talked about his shoulder injury. Do you think that's going to be a concern coming to the league?
I don't think it's going to be a concern because
it wasn't a concern at USC.
Yeah, it wasn't a concern at USC. He played with it. He even showed you when he played hurt, he was still dominant. That's the thing that pushes you, that proves to you that this kid is gonna be solid, that he's ready. This is still a kid that was playing hurt, and he was still dominating players at that level. So it wasn't really much of an issue in college. I mean, let's be serious. There's a lot of players that play with injuries throughout college. There's players that play through injuries, in the NFL. That's just how football works. This is not, we're not ballerinas here. You're going to get nicked up throughout the season. You've got to play with those injuries. So if Leonard shows you, before you even draft him beforehand that, hey, this kid can play with an injury, and the injury isn't really that big of a deal, man, what else can you say about the kid? I mean, what else can you say? There's no way you don't take him. Something I wanted to kind of touch on was what you said about Todd Bowles when, he said he's going to stick strictly to the 3-4. Yeah. I think what a lot of people don't understand about Todd is that, first off, he's not going to show you his hand as a defensive coordinator. He's never going to tell you, well, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to run nickel in this situation. And then when you do this, I'm going to run dime. He's not going to tell you that. He's not going to say those things. I think what's going to happen is, I think we're going to see some of the same things that we saw with Rex. Is it going to be a 3-4 scheme? Absolutely. I don't deny that, because I don't think we have the linebackers to play a 4-3 defense. But I do think what you'll see is versatile fronts. You'll see different kind of pass rushing schemes. You'll see guys come up to the line. They might rush. They might not. You'll see guys drop back. What you'll also see, though, and what I think that people don't understand, especially fans of this team, is a solid rotation. Yeah. For those of you that think that Sheldon Richardson, Muhammad Wilkerson, they're on the field every single play of every single game for every single drive, This is not Madden, okay? This is not where you can turn the sliders on the fatigue all the way down. No, that's not how it works. In the NFL, players get tired. So Muhammad Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, all these guys, they have to go to the sideline sometimes to get a rest, to get a blow for maybe a down or maybe a series, and just rest themselves to come back in and play defense on the drive if need be, if the drive's not over. So what you had was you would have guys like, Doozable, you would have Harrison, you would have, different guys out there playing, TJ Barnes, even out there, our backup, quality depth guys.
Yep.
Playing at that defensive line. And of course, it seemed like you didn't notice. Of course, it seemed like nothing had happened, like those guys were out there the whole time. No, those were our quality depth guys and depth and backups. So I think what fans of this team need to understand is that in the NFL, to compete, I'm not even talking about winning the Super Bowl, because I'm not here to say that we're going to win a Super Bowl. What I'm saying is to compete in this league and beat elite teams or be an elite team, you have to have depth. Okay? Again, guys, this is not Madden. You can't turn that slider down, turn the fatigue off, and nobody ever get tired. That's not how it works here. You have to have depth, and this was a quality depth move.
Now, we had some questions. I know I had one. I know Bones NYG is trying to join. Bro, the link is on my page. I know Young J00 has a hard time getting on here. So if you go on Nick's Bros Google channel and find us, definitely you can join in. Also, Night of the Shield asked about Williams' injury, and I think Young J touched on that. And we don't think it's going to be a factor because it wasn't a factor in USC. It's coming from two guys that closely follow the Trojans. But no, so here we go. Let's talk about, one more thing real fast before we get into anything else. The second round pick that we did have was Devin Smith. I was very excited for this because, let me back up a little bit. I watched a lot of reactions on the draft. There were a few people who, especially I watched a couple of Raiders fans who, when they drafted Amari Cooper, a lot of them were like, yes, and then they kind of paused and they were like, I wanted Leonard Williams deep down inside, but I'm happy with Amari Cooper. Before I go to the second round pick, at the end of 2015-2016 season, now this is just coming from a fan, who's going to be more satisfied with their pick? Is it going to be the Raiders and Amari Cooper, or is it going to be Leonard Williams and the Jets?
I don't know. I don't know if you can really weigh that out.
Broad of a question?
Yeah, I don't know if I think it's too broad of a question, and I think that I don't know if you can really weigh that out because their needs were different than ours. It's like they needed a wide receiver. Even though yes, they could have got Leonard Williams, and he could have played on that line.
They were in the same boat as we were with their defensive line, were they not?
No, because a lot of their defensive line guys are older. I mean, if you look at Justin Tuck, these guys are much older. I mean, they have guys there. He could have come in and I guess he could have flourished behind those guys, but it's not the same feel because you have to develop Derek Carr. We have Eric Decker, we have Brandon Marshall, we have Jeremy Curley, we have three solidified wide receivers. The one thing that we drafted in the second round is what covered something, and we'll go on that in a second. But I don't think our wide receiver need was as big as theirs because they need a number one elite wide receiver. They need it because they don't have much of anything else out there. Marco Rivera is solid with the Raiders. The guy that I love, Andre Holmes, is out there playing, but he's not. None of these guys that I'm naming are dominant number one guys that you can say, you know what, I'm putting my money on you. This is the guy that I want Derek Carr to have for the rest of his career. This is going to be his go-to guy. So I don't know. I don't know if you can really compare the picks due to the fact that it's also a different position. Amari Cooper is going to see balls thrown to him constantly. Okay, that's it.
Right.
Day one, he steps in as a starter. The day one Leonard steps in, he steps in as a guy that is in a rotation. So it's kind of hard to compare them because you're going to have a guy in a rotation who's going to be working his way in, who's going to, show that, he's getting the hang of the league and getting everything, and he's learning defense versus a guy who's going to be catching touchdowns, going to be running routes, going to be, it's hard to compare that pick. So I don't know if after this year you'll be able to say, you know what, all right, boom, the Jets, this is a better pick from this one. But I think we both addressed needs, and I think that we did exactly what we needed to do with those picks.
Yeah. Just so you're aware, Joe, Bones is a Giants fan, but he's a Jersey guy. He's very open-minded toward the Jets. I don't see him as someone that's being critical of the Jets. And I sent him an invite, so just FYI, I don't know if he can hop on or not. But in the meantime, you and I will just continue the show and kind of go from there. But
I'm on here.
More entertaining.
I know
Bones, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. It's the guy with the voice. I'm telling you, this guy should do something. The next Goodfellas. Bones, we're talking a lot of Jets football.
I understand that, but I'm surprised that your brother ain't here.
No, well, yeah, my brother was. We did one this morning, and he's kind of busy right now. What's your overall take on the Jets draft?
I actually think you guys drafted pretty well. I mean, what was that first guy in the
Leonard
first
Williams.
round? Yeah.
Leonard Williams.
My question is, do you guys feel that? Because I heard he had like an injured knee or an injured leg or something. Are you guys have any concerns with that injury at all, or?
No, he has a injured shoulder. Again, I didn't see it being a factor in USC when he played. And what kind of scares me though is just the fact that no one really knew about that injury till he got drafted. So that kind of made me question it a little bit. But overall, I don't think. I mean, Young Jay can speak for himself, but I don't think it's a huge factor.
Yeah, I don't think it's a factor. I don't think it's a big factor at all. And there were some teams that definitely.
Plus it also takes time. I mean, I think your front four should be just fine. I think you guys have one of the best group of pass rushers in the East right now, the AFC East.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there were teams that knew about the injury, and that's why some people were shying away from him. I guess it might have put some teams off, but I don't see it being an issue, especially when you have, like I said, you listen, the scouting process, especially the combine process, dude, these guys get checked out from top to bottom, okay, from top to bottom. So if Todd Bowles and Mike Maccagnan and Casey Rogers, our defensive coordinator, looked at this guy and says, you know what, we're identifying him as the #1 player, on our draft board, and this is the guy that we want, then, I'm good to go with that. Like, these are guys that are accomplished scouts, especially Mike Maccagnan. So I'm not worried at all about this shoulder injury or whatever else, this little stuff that he has. Because, like I said, every player is nicked up, whether you know it or not. Every single player has issues. That's just how it works.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I hear you. Now, I think the big question comes into play is how much of a factor does Leonard Williams have in re-signing Muhammad Wilkerson? Joe and I both agree that Mo Williams is a top priority for the Jets to be signed. Now, let me ask you this: if we were for some reason to trade him, and I'll ask Bones this, if you're familiar with Muhammad Wilkerson, if we were for somehow, some way trade him, let's just look at it that way. What is Muhammad Wilkerson worth? Is he second round, first round? What are we looking at? What do you think, Bones?
I would say possible for first round. I could be wrong though. I mean, he's had a great season last year. He's pretty much like one of the best players that you have.
Yeah.
And what I'm really shocked though is the fact that everyone's talking about this contract when it hasn't even expired yet. That part I just don't understand. I mean, for example, Eli Manning, he's just not concerned at all. He just wants to get through the season and then go with the contract. With Muhammad Wilkerson, that's the one thing I don't understand why it's just so different. Was he totally determined, or was he demanding a new contract with all these new trades and all these draft picks that were going on? That's what I would like to know.
I think it's one of those things that just got blown out of proportion, to be honest with you.
That's how I feel, because I'm shocked that he's asking for such a big contract when he still has one more year left. I don't know why he's so concerned about it so soon.
Yeah,
that's the part I don't understand.
Joe, I mean, Muhammad Wilkerson for the most part has been one of our most consistent defensive linemen. I don't want to say he's J.J. Watt or anything, but he's been fairly consistent every year. What do you think he's worth, Joe?
I don't think we'd ever get the value back for him. I think Muhammad Wilkerson easily is worth a first rounder. Easily. If you watch his tape, if you watch what he's doing on the field, the things that his assignments that he's given, the things that he's tasked to do, this is a guy that should get a first rounder. We should get a first rounder from Muhammad Wilkerson. But I think when you look at our situation, and whoa, before I even finish this statement, let me let everyone know that is watching this, any Jets fans, anything, I am not in favor of trading Muhammad Wilkerson. I think that would be the dumbest move we ever made in franchise history. Well,
I honestly feel that you guys
ever made.
And you guys don't have Vidzik anymore. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think that would be one of the dumbest moves we've ever made. Yeah. In franchise history. So I'm not saying that we should trade Muhammad Wilkerson. I'm just answering the question that was asked.
You guys are going to pay the man.
To comment,
when the time really comes, you guys are going to pay the man. You see, that's the thing with the NFL and like the whole. I hate ESPN sometimes. You know, they did the same thing with DeMarco Murray going to the Eagles. Everyone knew that he was going to the Eagles. They just keep hyping. Oh, what's he going to sign? You know, who's getting DeMarco Murray? Like Cleveland Browns were wanting DeMarco. Like it was starting to get ridiculous. Like the dude was already in Philly. It's like shut up already with ESPN.
I just think that with Muhammad Wilkerson, his situation and his contract, if you look at it, we tried to get contracts done. We should have got it done last year. This is the last year. Yeah, we should, but this is the last year we have for this guy. We actually can lock him up for 2 more years if we franchise him after this year. But that's gonna be paying him top end dollars as a defensive end as well. But when you look at him and when you look at where he can go and what teams can offer him, I think that's what puts fear in the hearts of fans. Because when you look at teams like Tampa, a team we just talked about, like the Raiders, who desperately would love to have a lineman like Muhammad Wilkerson. There's other teams out there, Cleveland Browns, that would love to spend some money on him, and they have big bucks, a lot bigger bucks than what we have. So I think that we need to lock him up, get the deal done. Trading him, in my mind, isn't even you can't even consider that in my mind. You can't even consider trading Muhammad Wilkerson.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing. I think at first when we were trying to get our defensive backs together, when we got Cromartie and Revis, I was totally up for it. But now that we're trying to sign Muhammad Wilkerson, and I don't want to say we're short of money, but we've done a lot of spending this offseason. I sit and scratch my head when we signed that Buster guy from Cleveland. What's his name? Buster who?
Buster Skrine.
Buster Skrine. Yeah. I sit and I'm like, well, we could have saved that money and offer a good deal to Muhammad Wilkerson. Not the fact that we still can't. Real fast, I do have a comment from Night of the Shield. He's talking about Fowler's injury happened. It could be worse. Speaking of Williams, again, I hope nothing happens to Williams. But he's talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars player, right? The one who got injured first day of practice.
Yeah, he hurt himself on the first day of practice. Like that's not. I don't think that's the same thing as a pre-existing injury, shoulder injury with Leonard Williams.
He signed his contract first, though, right?
Huh? Say it again.
He signed his contract before he got injured, right?
Dante Fowler. I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure that he did though, because he was out there for their camp. So he's got some type of insurance or clause or whatever. He'll be fine. I'm pretty sure he'll recover and be all right.
All right. Well, second pick in the draft. Again, I was really happy to sign Devin Smith from Ohio State. Vertical runner. He's able to definitely give you something we didn't have last year. We didn't have a wide receiver that's able to beat the other corners, deep in the end zone or whatever the case might be in the field. Be able to give weapons to whomever steps in as the quarterback for us. Bones, or I'll start with Joe. Joe, what was your take on us drafting Devin Smith?
I absolutely loved it. I think that Devin was exactly what we needed. I wanted Philip Dorsett, but when I saw the Colts reach, well, they didn't reach. Let me take that back. But they took him earlier than I thought that he would go, and they took him in the first round. I was like, dang, But then right when I said that, I looked back at my board and I said, okay, Devin Smith is still there. This is exactly what we need: a guy that can take the top off the defense and he can track the long ball. Geno Smith, for all his faults, for everything that everyone says that he can't do, I tell you what, he throws a really nice deep ball. So when you got a guy like Devin Smith that can give you that threat, because if you look at Decker, Brandon Marshall, even though Brandon Marshall could be a solid number one, he's still an aging wide receiver, and he also has a huge injury history, generally in his legs, with his knees and his shins and his ankles.
Yeah.
You look at Jeremy Curley, these are not guys that are going to take the top off your defense. These are not speed guys that you have to be afraid of. You look at guys last year when we had Decker, they sat on all his routes. What you saw change in our offense when we had got Piercy Harvin was you saw the speed come. So when now Piercy's gone, you're able to draft Devin, you bring Devin in, the speed's back, and it's young, and it's a guy that if you do not, if you do not consider him on every single play, if you do not, match up with him well, it could be 6. It could easily be a touchdown every single time. So I love the pick, and I think again, Mike Maccagnan, a guy that I had faith in because he was a guy that actually knew how to scout, a guy that was, huge in his on draft day with his team, and he had been down this road many times. I love the pick, and I think he did a damn good job with this.
Bones, I got to ask you this since you're a Giants fan. Was Devin Smith's catch better in the end zone in college, or is Odell Beckham's better?
I'm going to pick Odell Beckham, bro.
Okay. But you know which catch I'm talking about with Devin Smith, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. I honestly guys were going to get Pryor. That is, of course, until the Raiders stole it.
Yeah.
But the way I like to see it, as long as you guys get something that you need, and a wide receiver was definitely most needed, because I honestly felt that your receiving core from last year was kind of the same situation that the Giants have had, because we barely have a number one guy, and Victor Cruz can't be a number one guy. He is a slot receiver.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham, however, can be a number one person. He's really good with deep passes.
Yep.
But when it comes to bigger corners, Beckham is still vertically challenged. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
But honestly though, with your pick, I think it was a great pick for you guys, because let's face it, Curly can't do it by himself. Don't get me wrong, I think Curly's fantastic, but I think you guys definitely got the help. And with Brandon Marshall, he may be aging, but he can teach those young guys a few things, and I honestly feel that you guys made a pretty good choice for the second round.
For sure. When we signed, I remember when we signed Decker, I was pretty ecstatic about it, but I didn't see him as a first wide receiver either.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Decker. Yeah. I honestly feel that you guys got a receiving core.
Yeah, for sure. So real fast, the third pick in the draft, Malding from Louisville. Now, I wasn't very familiar with him. I knew our linebacking core definitely needed something, but obviously Vic Beasley wasn't going to stick around until the third round. So when we picked him up, I did some research on Malding. One thing Malding brings to the table is passion. He's a very passionate linebacker, and I think that's what this team missed after, Bart Scott? He was our linebacker. He had a lot of heart. I remember that Patriots game, the one where we beat him in New England. It was a playoff game. He was definitely a vocal leader for us in the playoffs. Joe, what was your take on Malding when we drafted him?
I like the pick as well. I did a little touch up. I think I had seen him play maybe once or twice. But the kid is very fluid. That's something I like. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a pass rush specialist, a guy that's going to definitely rush the passer here, which is something else that we needed. I'd like to see him flourish. I think he's going to be another guy that works into the rotation. But he's definitely going to be a kid that we're going to see that's going to be coming off that edge. His coverage ability and stuff like that, of course, he's going to have to work on that, just like every other linebacker in the draft may have to. He may have a little longer way to go, though. But I think it was another good, solid pick. We traded down and was able to get him. I kind of thought about us possibly getting Duke Johnson with that pick, but with us being set at running back the way we are, I think, and especially with us getting who we got later on, I know you're probably going to talk about Zach Stacy, so we were probably already on the phone talking about getting Zach Stacy from the Rams, so that's probably why we didn't draft, Johnson or any other running back at that pick. So, but I like the pick. I think this kid is going to be solid. I think he's going to provide a little pass rush for us too.
Yeah. What was everyone's take on Zach Stacy? How do we feel about Zach Stacy?
I think that Zach is a capable running back. I think that he fits in Gailey's scheme because I think he's a guy that he can. Well, I don't think. I know he's a guy that can catch footballs out the backfield. That's factual. If you look at Gailey's system when he was in Buffalo, I think his running backs caught something like 100 balls out the backfield. So you're going to see a lot of guys swing. Now, what we're missing here is we're missing an explosive back. We don't have a guy that's gonna, give you a one run, boom, he's going to take it to the house, you're never going to see him. We don't have a Chris Johnson early in his career. We don't have, this speed outstanding, the speed back. We don't have that. But what we do have is we have a lot of guys, excuse me, that are Swiss Army knives. If you look at Chris Ivory, he's a guy that is a Swiss Army knife. He can catch the football, he can block, he can run really well. He's not slow. He's not super slow, but he's not a guy that's going to burn you. If you look at Bilal Powell, he's the same way. If you look at Stephen Ridley, he's the same way. Well, if you look at Zach Stacy, he's the same way. Exact same way, Swiss Army knife guy. So you're going to have us go into camp. We gave up only a 7th round to get Zach Stacy, so that's next to nothing, and all these guys are going to go to camp, along with the guy that I think that a lot of Jets fans are forgetting, but I have not forgotten. His name is Richardson. It was another guy that played on the Rams, and he showed out last year. He has a little bit of an injury history, but he came in. He was able to play with us during preseason, and he had a lot of solid runs. But because we wanted to work in Chris Johnson, we ended up putting him on the practice squad. But he still can be a factor this year, and he's the guy that I'm definitely looking to go in that. So when you look at our backfield as a, with Stacy, it's filled. Like I said, full of Swiss Army knife guys. So you're going to see a lot of these guys swing out the backfield. You're going to see a heavy rotation with whoever comes out of preseason with us.
Yeah. I'm gonna direct this question to Bones. Is it safe to say that as the league might be turning back to the running game because how successful the draft was for the running back position this year? Because it's been about 8 to 9 years that back in the day, let's just say the Miami Dolphins had Ricky Williams as their main starter. Giants had Tiki Barber as their main starter. Now you got this whole thing with 1-2 punch with the running back position where you don't see a running back guaranteed a starter. I mean, they don't get to play from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. Bones, what's your take on that?
My take is like anything can happen. I mean, sometimes it's not just always the running back. It's also like the team that they're in, like how the offensive line performs. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I feel any running back can have like a great season if that's what you're really trying to get into. But I guess for an example, this may sound ridiculous, but Darren McFadden. I mean, I'm actually surprised that the Cowboys didn't draft a running back, and if that was really the case, they must really trust that offensive line. But you still never know. I mean, I honestly don't feel. I'm not saying Darren McFadden's gonna have 1,000 yards or anything like that. It's just, but I do honestly feel that there's gonna be at least 3 rookie running backs that will probably make a huge play, and it'll probably be on one of plays of the week or something like that. But I really can't predict that. That's just something that we're just gonna have to see.
Would Todd Gurley be one of those running backs?
I'm sorry?
Would Todd Gurley be one of those running backs? Would Todd Gurley have an impact going into next season in his rookie year, from your perspective?
From my perspective, let's see. You can name one of the running backs again. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Todd Gurley, the UGA running back that got drafted, I believe, by the Rams, 10th pick in the first round. He was one of those running backs that's supposed to make some sort of noise, and that's the reason why Stacy got traded, because as soon as Gurley got drafted to the Rams, Stacy was like, I don't want to play for the Rams anymore. That's how that trade kind of came about. So he might go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was.
Yeah, I think Gurley definitely. I don't know how to feel about Gurley. That type of injury that he did from college going to the NFL. So I don't know how I feel about it. Um,
Can I say something?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to kind of chime in because I wanted to touch on a couple of things that you said. When you said, is the NFL going to go back to the running game? I think that when you look at the NFL, I don't think the running game is any less important than it was years ago. Because if you look at the dominant teams, the guys that have been in the Super Bowl, they have solid running backs. Like the Seahawks, for one. The running game is not gone. The Seahawks are still running the ball.
That's exactly why I can't call it, man.
I think that what you have to look at is the game has changed from a standpoint of running backs are not as valuable anymore because you can put a system of them together because running backs don't last long in this league, bro. They just don't. Like I think their average career is maybe 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years for a running back, for a solid, like just for a guy you draft. I think their average career is like 3 to 4 years or something like that. So you get a bunch of guys like that, you can put them in a system and run them in different, you can have fresh legs. That helps them last a lot longer in this league. Okay, now, of course, we're going to have guys that aren't human, like Marshawn Lynch and Adrian Peterson, who is not human. I'm convinced that Adrian Peterson is not from this planet. I don't know what planet he's from, but I know that he is not from Earth. I don't care about what anyone is talking to me about or trying to tell me about where he was born in Texas. He was not born in Texas. I don't know where he was born, but it was not in Texas. People are making things up, and they're telling me. I'm telling you, it's the government. So what I'm telling you,
shut this Google Hangout down.
What I'm telling you is that now elite running back talent in this league, of course, that's not flying off the chart. Like, not everybody has an elite running back that can run every single down, like I said, an Adrian Peterson or a Marshawn Lynch. But you still have teams that are running the football heavy that have 3 to 4 running backs. So the running game is not dead. You can look at the Broncos, even guys. The Broncos.
It's not dead, but if you have an offensive line, that's what keeps a running back. That's what keeps the running game alive.
Yeah,
that's the main key to that.
It does keep the running back alive, but like I said, if you have a couple 3 to 4 running backs, and a perfect example of that is Denver. Denver had like three, almost 4 running backs. You had Ball that started out with the season, then he went down, and then you brought in Hillman, and then he went down, and you had another guy. And all those guys, if you look at, again, late into the season when Peyton Manning wasn't playing like the normal Peyton Manning, what is the first thing they did? They turned to absolutely bludgeoning people. They were running the ball down your throat. Of course, the offensive line, clearly, to anything, offensive line is, your team can't throw without an offensive line. If you don't have a decent offensive line in, there's nothing you can do. But from a running back position, from that standpoint of, is running game dead in the NFL? Absolutely not. Because the teams that are making it the furthest, the teams that are winning Super Bowls, a lot of them are standing on the run, and that hasn't changed.
Yeah. One position that with the New York Jets, we definitely have depth now going into next season is a running back position with having Riley, Ivory, Powell, and also talk about Stacy. Or 4th pick, which I was really happy about, but I didn't expect him to stay around or stick around to the 4th round, was Bryce Petty from Baylor. Joe, what's your take on Bryce Petty? And we'll kind of fall into a quarterback conversation that we're going to have now, where should the Jets rank as far as who should be our quarterback going to next season, who's our short-term fix, and who's our long-term fix? Joe, I'll let you go ahead and kind of take that.
If anybody knows me, follows me, tweets me, or whatever, everyone knows and listen to my show, Let's Talk Jets. Everyone knows I love Bryce Petty. I loved Bryce Petty before the draft. He was my number 3 quarterback on the board. I think he has all the tools to be a starter in this league. He's got to sharpen these tools. He is not ready yet, but he can, if he can get some things down, sit down on that bench, learn the playbook, he could possibly be a steal in this draft in the 4th round. Like I said earlier, with that said, he is not ready yet, okay? Mm-hmm. A lot of Jets fans, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. If I would have got drafted and just said, hey, draft me as a QB, then they probably talked about me starting over Geno Smith. It's just a new name, okay? Any new name that comes up, you're talking about, hey, he should start. Listen, Jets fans, all my Jets brothers and sisters.
14-year-old teenagers constantly
Exactly. And I love my Jets brothers and sisters. Everyone knows that, but, yo, relax, okay? I do not believe, and like I said, I love Bryce. I watched a lot of them over there at Baylor. He is not ready yet. He is a guy that you have to wait, you have to teach, and you have to work into the system, okay? We've done this time and time again with quarterbacks. I don't know I just don't understand why Jets fans don't learn from history. But we did this with Mark Sanchez. We did this with Geno Smith. We keep doing this over and over again when we get a quarterback and we shove you in the starting and we say, hey, go win us a Super Bowl. That's not the way it works, okay? You have to work certain people in, okay? We drafted this kid in the 4th round. He's not ready. Now, with that said, Bryce Petty, in my mind, like I said, to re-speak again, he's not ready. So in my mind, he's going to be the 3rd quarterback. I don't know what it is about the fans that they just forget, like, Ryan Fitzpatrick even exists.
Exactly.
But he's not. I don't know what it is about what it was about this draft, but it's like people just forgot that we even got this guy who not only is a veteran, not only has shown you he's got work ethic, not only show you that he's been successful in this scheme. He's worked with Chan Gailey before. He knows the scheme left to right. He's been successful in it. Not only shown you that he knows what to do, how to audible, how to read his hot reads, how to bounce back from bad games. He's shown you all this stuff, and we just forget that he didn't exist. Let's be serious. The guy that's gonna push Geno, because Geno is still in. He's still in the running to be a starting quarterback. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's just the way it is. He is the guy that if Geno falters, or he's the guy that's actually going to be competing with Geno to be a starting quarterback of the New York Jets. That's the guy that's going to compete with him. Bryce Petty, unless he wows us, unless he comes out and just has, boom, his skill set's crazy and he's done some crazy work in the offseason and all of a sudden he just knows the scheme back there, the quarterback conversation is going to be between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Geno Smith. Okay,
that's how it should be.
Exactly. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's how it should be. And here's the thing with the Jets fans is, I get it. Like they're always, as soon as something happens, week 3, some quarterback messes up, they're always chanting. It's like that guy that does the slow clap.
Mm-hmm.
The guy right next to you is chanting the next substitute quarterback. I'm telling you, I'm gonna smack him right across his mouth. And that's just how I feel with the quarterback position. Bones, what do you think about our short-term, long-term quarterback situation?
Honestly, I feel that Geno Smith is going to be your starter regardless. And like he said, this rookie quarterback isn't like fully ready yet, and here's another thing that I've noticed with backup quarterbacks or people that you like just draft. They never really let each quarterback play with the starters, and I kind of a lot of teams do it, a lot of teams don't, and I never understood why they do that. You would have to let the rookie quarterback, practice with the starters if he really wants to learn these schemes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, put him in real life situations.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of teams really don't do that, and I feel that's what's really bitten most franchises right in the ass. And it just turns out to be like a total mess and a huge quarterback controversy, and you guys have been through that for like 3 straight years. So I honestly don't see this rookie being the star. I honestly feel that Geno is going to be your quarterback.
Yeah, no. To Joe's take, it's all about building a quarterback's confidence, and that's what I said in my last video. We can't keep drafting these quarterbacks and expecting them to evolve their game right away from the college level to the NFL level, especially with the amount of pressure we tend to put on quarterbacks. For example, I'm not going to sit here and praise Mark Sanchez, but I'll bet you, when he was at his peak, he did have some weapons in New York. If he would have maybe played at a smaller market, maybe he would have been able
I thought he was great. I just feel that your owner just completely shitted on him.
Totally. And that whole Tebow thing, the whole circus was just...
Oh,
it was a money gimmick.
Yo, you want to know something about that whole Tebow thing was to get that friggin' dumbass owner just to gain some money off of people buying his jersey, bro.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
Yeah.
If that was my franchise, I'd be fucking pissed.
No, I was pretty mad, and that's why I don't think John Edix is where he is. But no, with Ryan Fitzpatrick coming into the Jets, one good thing is, or should I say, the reason why Chan Gailey's here to begin with is the same reason why Ryan Fitzpatrick is here. So going to next season, I really think Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to beat Geno Smith for the starting position. Although I'm not a total Geno Smith hater. I mean, I do hate on the guy just because he's garbage. But one thing he does bring to the table is, we've seen it last year, is he does have certain times where you're looking at him like, you know what, he can be a starter in this league.
I feel that he's got potential.
he
I
makes
think he
some
has
really
like a huge
bad
he
decisions.
has a huge attitude problem. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's that maturity level. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Gino. I think a lot of fans, when they look at Gino, they don't take into account, you know, his whole body of work. I think when you look at what he's done up to this point, is that when he first got in, okay, you can't judge this guy because he was throwing to Clyde Gates and Stephen Hill. This guy's a garbage. Those guys are garbage. Like, let's be serious here.
Yeah, he
Those
didn't have
guys,
a weapon.
those guys are complete trash. Okay, like complete trash. Clyde Gates and Stephen Hill is it's like the Tom and Jerry.
Oh my God.
It's like the Tom and Jerry receiving core,
Wow.
like the Acme receiving core that we had here with the Jets. Let's be serious here, all right? So you move on to the next season when he got Decker and he got Hardman. Were there issues with Gino? Absolutely, but there was also bad play calling. Let me get this out the way, because Marty Mornhinweg, for all the things that he was, he's a great offensive mind. He knows football. I love Marty Mornhinweg's football knowledge, but he doesn't know how to use personnel, and he doesn't know how to adjust his scheme, okay? He doesn't know. Let me tell you how he doesn't know. When you would watch Marty Mornhinweg, we had power runners. Chris Ivory. If you look at a lot of things that he did to Chris Ivory, he had Chris Ivory running stretches. He had Chris Ivory running swings. Why in the world would you run Chris Ivory on a swing? He's not Chris Johnson. He's not a speed back. What do you do with Chris Ivory? Common sense. You run him up the middle. You open these guards up. You get some traps. You work something. You get I form big. That was our personnel. Our personnel is I form big. We're going to slam you in the mouth. Well, a lot of times he wasn't doing that. He wouldn't run screens.
Back in the day, they called those power backs.
Yeah. He wouldn't run screens. He wouldn't do certain things to make adjustments to defenses when they were either figuring out what he was doing or, you know, defenses that had mismatches. Like, for instance, a perfect example of one of the dumbest things I'd ever seen him do. If you go back and you watch that first Dolphin game when Gino, earlier from this season, when we were running the ball left and right? That's all we did the whole damn game. Well, then you go back and you look at when Gino dropped back, he has Jeff Cumberland on an island with Cameron Wake. Cameron Wake is like one of the best defensive ends in the league. There's tackles that can't block him. Why would you put weak Jeff Cumberland, and he's a solid tight end, but he's not like some all-star blocking tight end he can't handle Cameron Wake. He left him out there on an island with Cameron Wake, so then when Gino was dropping back, he had pressure in his face. So that's something you got to take into account. You look at the offensive play calling from Sperano, who was garbage, who was a horrible offensive coordinator. You look at Marty Mornhinweg, who was so-so. You got to take that all into totality. So then when you look at that, and then you see, Gino did make a lot of bad throws. I'm not here to even try to lie about that or even make something up. There was a lot of bad Gino there. But there were flashes, dude. There were flashes. You look at our first, I think, 3 or 4 games throughout that season. Rewatch those games. That game against the Packers. That game against the Bears. He had a solid game against the Lions. And I mean, he was building, and then it's just the ups and downs of Gino. But when I look at it, it's like, this is his last year. This is the put up or shut up year. If you look at everything he's done, and I know I keep saying this, he's working with quarterback coaches this year in his offseason. He's working with Brandon Marshall. Him and Brandon Marshall are hanging out. They're getting acquainted. They're getting their play calling together. They're getting their adjustments together. They're not just kicking it at the facility. No, they're doing work. They're doing solid work. They're running routes. He's learning Brandon Marshall's timing. He's working with his receiving core. So he's doing things a lot differently this year than he's done in the past year. And I think it's because he knows this is the put up or shut up year, and this is the year where he's maturing a lot. He's learned a lot. Not just being a leader on the field, just playing. He's also working on being a leader off the field, because that's where a lot of the problems were coming from. Gino, like I said, I think that Gino and Fitzpatrick are the guys that are in the running for a starting quarterback. I'm not in love with Gino. Everyone knows that. He has some faults, but he's going to be here, and he's going to be competing. And this is going to be the first legit quarterback competition that he's ever been in. So we're going to see what happens.
To Gino's defense, though, I mean, we've had a lot of front office involved into a football play. I mean, since week 12, we had airplanes flying over saying fire John Idzik. I mean, that can't be too comforting for you as a quarterback to be able to start in the league. Now, to kind of turn around, I do want to ask Bones this question since I got him on here. Quarterback situations, I know obviously Eli Manning has been magnificent for the franchise, won about, 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. What's going on? What do you think is going to happen to Eli going into the future? Is it mostly just the offensive line that's a struggle for the Giants and Eli, or do you think what's your take on Eli and Eli's situation in New York, the Giants side of the ball?
Well, for the Giants side of the ball, yes, no, offensive line has been a problem. Well, I would say probably for like the first half of the season, like the second half, the offensive line actually really wasn't that bad. Like towards the second half of the season, I feel that our defense was totally a huge weakness. I mean, we could barely, the secondary and pass rush as well. I mean, if you watch the Cowboys game, I mean, if you're giving Romo like 9 seconds to throw the football, come on, man.
Yeah.
But that's to me that's totally unacceptable, and this is why I feel that, because I've noticed how the Giants have drafted, most of them were just young D linemen, and I'm having a feeling I know what they're doing. And like if these guys make the team that were just drafted, if they make the team, one of their goals is to get through that offensive line, because they know that the Cowboys are going to be the biggest threat in the NFC East. So I honestly feel, I mean, they did draft a few O-linemen. I feel that they filled in a few holes. I'm surprised that we haven't drafted a center. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know what they say. It usually takes, like, almost 3 to 5 years to, like, rebuild an O-line. I never really understood that. A few people have told me that kind of stuff, but it is what it is. But our secondary is average. I'm actually surprised that we signed DRC for like what was it, like a 5-year contract, and we had to deal with him for 4 more years. Yeah. That dude's almost done, man.
Yeah. So come week 13, when you guys play the Jets, you're gonna make a nice TTC special for me, or what's gonna happen? Who's gonna win that one, Giants or Jets?
Oh, we're.
I knew you would.
Here's the thing with the TTC, man. We may say a lot of harsh shit, but it's all like just a joke. I'm really cool with you guys know Jayhawk Jam, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm like mad cool with that dude. But the thing with the TTC is like, we're just like a group of guys that just like to bust each other's chops, and it's really nothing personal. And of course, if they take it personal, we're gonna like get that person more mad. I have a lot of crazy stuff to say about the Jets, man. Like it's.
I know you've kept it inside, man.
Oh man, like. But no,
what is this, spoiler alert?
Is this a spoiler? Well, I kind of gave it away when I was talking to Rock Chalk about it. I commented on a few of his videos.
Yeah.
Like. I usually have no problem with the Jets, but I'm not saying you guys.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of Jet fans out there that, they care so much about the Giants franchise. But you see, there's Giant fans that do the same thing. That's why they call it a New York rivalry. Some people don't care, some people do.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like maybe this is a spoiler. Like the thing I really despised, that I really didn't like about the Jets, was that you see the Giants have like this very loyal super fan. You guys know LPG, right?
Yeah.
This guy goes to every home game, almost every away game too.
Mm-hmm. And
you got this guy Fireman Ed, which I thought like he was like a really cool pump up for you guys. You guys need a fan like that to pump up the crowd. I honestly feel that dude has quit, or maybe it was a personal thing. It's just, to me, it was just like, wow, like.
My take on him is
I thought it looked like he quit or something.
Can I speak on that? I can actually speak on that.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. If you listen to we actually had him on our show.
Really?
Again, yes, Let's Talk Jets every Tuesday at 8. You can go on Blog Talk Radio and search Let's Talk Jets, and or you can just Google search Let's Talk Jets, and you can actually listen to an in-depth interview that we did with him. He actually was being harassed by other fans. He had issues, with things that were going on, and it was some of the things that he had said that fans, I guess some fans either didn't agree with, and there was also things that people just want to hassle you. Drunk fans that were having problems with him that would, do different things to him and things like that. And so he had a lot of issues with that, and that was one of the reasons why he stopped coming. Yeah, so again, you guys can check out that. He said a lot of other things too as well, but he was just having a lot of issues at the stadium. So that's definitely something you guys need to check out. Again, you can Google Let's Talk Jets and go ahead and listen to our interview with him.
Has he ever said, I gotta ask this though. I have to ask this though, because the internet has been all over it lately. Has he spoken on anything about like the internet, like spreading rumors that he was like a former Dolphins fan?
Yeah.
Super fan?
He spoke on every single one of those things. Again, if you Google Let's Talk Jets, or you follow me at YoungJ000, or you can also follow Let's Talk Jets Radio on Twitter, and go into our show history, and he talks on every single one of those things. We gave him a hard interview. He talked about people talking about that he was a Dolphins fan and all these other different things, and he definitely gave us his take on everything, his side of the story. So go ahead and check that out.
Right.
As AFC East rivals, we gotta touch on this, is the Tom Brady situation. Obviously, the verdict is out. 4-game suspension. They took away a first-round pick and also a fourth-round pick in 2016, 2017. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What would you have liked to see, Joe, as far as Tom Brady's suspension was concerned?
I would like to have seen him get an entire season. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Jets fan. I'm saying that because he literally lied. Like, he lied to the league.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally lied. Like, there's no... What else do we need to do here? This is not the first time that the Patriots have been caught up in something either. This is like, how many times have they been caught cheating? How many times have they been caught doing something? Like, it's always something, from them taping practices to taping people's walkthroughs to doing all these weird things. And it's like, enough is enough. Like, he clearly knew what was going on. They have the text messages from the guy to him, so he was involved in it as well. They investigated. He acted like he didn't know what was going on. Boom, he gets busted. I think he should have got a year suspension. There's guys that have gotten year suspension, or there's guys that have gotten longer suspensions than 4 games for less. So enough is enough. Sit him down for a season.
Yeah, for a perfect example, if I was Sean Payton, I'd be freaking pissed.
Exactly. Sean Payton and Greg Williams.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 names I want to throw out there. Sean Payton, Greg Williams. Sean Payton legitimately...
They gave Belichick a get-out-of-free jail card, bro.
Exactly. I mean, Sean Payton legitimately was saying, I knew nothing. I didn't know nothing about this. They had Greg Williams. Dead to right. Like, there was no denying that. But Sean Payton literally was saying, hey, I don't know nothing. They still gave him a year, and he only got 4 games for, doing illegal things and blowing up the integrity of the game, and then you lied about it. Like, you literally blatantly lied about it. You said you knew nothing. You said, hey, I don't know what's going on. But they have those text messages.
That tells you a lot about Kraft's relationship with the commissioner. I mean, he's been very vocal about how much of a friends they are, and top 5 friend list on Facebook.
Well, it's either that, or it's just or maybe it's just Goodell just himself, because he has been very inconsistent with all these fines and all these suspensions and all that. Yeah. So who knows? Like, maybe Robert Kraft has nothing. Maybe he has something to do with it. Maybe he don't. I don't know. But that is kind of it. Either way, it is pretty sketchy.
And I'll tell you what, I think time will tell if Belichick was involved too.
I gotta ask this though, like, I mean, I honestly feel that like every single franchise has at least bend the rules like a couple times. Like, do you feel that the NFL might just be like a tiny bit hypocritical about these things?
Oh,
Uh,
totally, totally.
I mean, how when you say that, Bones, go
Here's
ahead.
the Falcons, for example, last season used
Yeah, they
noise
got the crowd noise.
Yeah, I've been to a Falcons Stadium. Matter of fact, I went to the Falcons Stadium when the Jets played them. When Geno Smith came for that comeback, I tell you what, people showed up like 30 minutes late. They stayed for the game like halfway, and then ended up going to a club. So um, very, very. I I think there's more to it. There's a lot of teams that do certain things, but
Like the 49ers and Jerry Rice with Stickum.
yeah, I mean there was even
They
a
had
documentary
that.
that came
You
out with the
even
Raiders and how some of their players used to use
Yeah, the Raiders.
some stuff in their. I get
Oh,
it.
you guys might appreciate this one though, because I remember in 2011 the New York Giants when they played the St. Louis Rams, one of them was faking an injury.
Yeah, but this is my thing on that. All those things you can talk about the Jerry Rice stickum. You can talk about the Raiders back then putting what they used to put on their jerseys like Pam. They used to put Pam on their jersey or greasing spray on their jersey so when you try to tackle them you slide right off. Those things
Right.
were admitted by players though. It wasn't like the NFL was like at least to my knowledge that the NFL wasn't investigating and finding out hey they're using Pam. It was kind
Oh,
of like
they admitted it to it. You're
yeah,
saying.
they admitted it. They just came out and admitted it. Like Jerry
Yeah,
Rice.
just
somebody-
like how Jerry Rice admitted
Yeah.
it to Stickum.
he
Right,
admitted
okay.
it. He admitted it
I
to
got
stick him,
you.
so it wasn't a big deal. And even that faking injury thing, I look at things like
Good point.
exactly like that's part of the game. Like, of course, guys are going to fake injuries, but that's also up to the ref to determine what's going on. So even faking an injury, that's kind of part of the game. But you can still get got for that though. There's rules to prevent you from doing that. But this right here, like this
They
stuff
held
right
like 3
here,
press conferences saying they didn't do it.
exactly. And this stuff
Right.
right here is like you're literally affecting the game. Now we can all say, okay, you know what? Maybe the Patriots would have beat them anyway or whatever. Okay, maybe that's true, but you'll never actually know if that's true because hey, guess what? Tom Brady was literally throwing balls that were easier to catch. He was throwing balls that were literally built for him to throw. That's one of the most wildest advantages I've ever seen in my life. That's almost that's like giving a jump shooter in the NBA like his own personal ball. Like here we're gonna give you a ball, Curry. Here's what we're gonna do, Curry. We're gonna give you a ball, and you tell us what ball you shoot the best with, and that's what we're gonna do. And we'll pump it up and we'll deflate it as much as you want. Like that's crazy. That's
Custom-made ball.
exactly. That's a custom-made ball. We're literally giving you one of a huge advantage as a quarterback. That's nuts. And again, this is not the first time that they've been investigated. This is
That's
not
the
the
thing.
first time that they've been found guilty of something either. This is like the third time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the fact that Spygate happened,
Exactly.
they're constantly doing. It's not. I mean, it sounds like you got 2 Jets fans over here just really bitter about things. But I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, you do this 2 times in 2 times already. There should be higher and more severe consequences. But I'm not I'm not going to sit here and maybe say take a Super Bowl away from me. Now I watch soccer very closely. One thing they do and UEFA does this soccer.
You guys root for the New York Red Bulls, right?
Well, you watched the Derby, right? I watched the
This
NYCFC.
is a New York page. I was just assuming it, but no, it's cool.
No, I watched the Red Bulls when they had Thierry Henry, but ever since then.
Right.
But no, I think there definitely needs to be a more severe penalty as far as that's concerned. But it's the Patriots at the end of the day. That's all I got right there. Joe, overall, does anything change from the pre-draft conversation we had? Because I told you, I said we might go 9-7 before the draft, and we kind of went through the schedule. And again, we're not experts. We're not going to sit here and say this is exactly what's going to happen. It's just our take on it as fans, from what we know, from not knowing the scouting reports, not knowing all the depth chart and things like. I ranked the Jets at 9-7. After the draft, at the most I can see us going is 10-6, still not winning the division. I think whoever wins the division is going to be very close, might be 11-5. I don't see the Patriots winning it. I do see Buffalo Bills being our most strongest team to go against. I'm not gonna think too highly of the Miami Dolphins just because they got Sue. I still think on the offensive side.
The only thing they have looking forward to is that pass rush, and that's
exactly
it. That's all they have.
Yeah, and I think one thing Rex Ryan brings to the table his first year every year is he's pretty unpredictable.
Yo, Rex Ryan is a scumbag, bro.
Yeah,
he's throwing you guys under the bus. Like, what the fuck?
He painted over the Jets jersey on his arm. What do you think about all that, Joe?
You know what? A lot of people.
He was supposed to be like a father to you guys, bro.
Yeah,
That's.
A lot of people ask me questions about Rex, especially fans that hit me up. I think with people, and everyone knows I'm a huge Rex guy. I love Rex. I still do.
Yeah.
But what people don't understand about Rex is that's all a part of his coaching style. That's all a part of him motivating players to be better. One of the things that I look at when I tell people about Rex and his motivational and his coaching style is that look at a player like Aaron Maybin. Anybody remember him? He was a #1 pick, Buffalo Bills, the guys that was supposed to be brought in. He was a pass rush specialist. The Bills thought they were getting a steal. He was a total bust with the Buffalo Bills. Complete trash. Came in, played for us, played in the preseason, and Rex just absolutely just crowned this kid. I think you're the best linebacker. People don't know. People are counting you out. They said you were a bust. I know that you can be a pass rusher here. I know my scheme can work for you. They just didn't know how to coach you. Dude, the kid performed in preseason. Like, was a standout in preseason. I thought, and we actually cut him, which was crazy. I thought he was one of the better performers. This was a guy that was getting to the quarterback during the preseason.
You want me to tell you my favorite Rex Ryan moment?
Yeah. We realized we made a mistake. And then we brought him back during the season. He had one of his best seasons that he's ever had in the league under Rex Ryan. And that's because that's how Rex coaches. He coaches confidence. I don't think he believes that any of those guys, like, I remember I forgot what linebacker it was, but he was saying the guy was like, he's like Ray Lewis. That kid was not like Ray Lewis.
Lewis.
But you know what it was? It was him coaching this kid up, giving him all the confidence in the world so that when he stepped out there, that's why all those players want to play for Rex. People can talk all the trash about him they want, but players want to play for him, and that's why. Because when you step on that field, you're playing for Rex because he's instilled that confidence. You don't want to let him down. You're willing to give it your all.
Players coach.
Exactly, he's a players coach. Even the guys that are still here, Sheldon Richardson, if you talked to him last season, what was the first thing he said? Performances like this are going to get guys fired. I don't want to see this team. I don't want to see our organization change. I don't want to see guys get fired. Go back and look at some of those interviews where they were talking about people getting fired. They were talking about Rex. They didn't want Rex to get fired. They loved Rex. Yeah. So I think that's all part of his coaching style. I think you got to understand when you listen to Rex, you got to take it with a grain of salt. When he does stuff like that, or like when he was saying that Revis and Cromartie would be bench warmers, come on, let's be serious here. It's Rex Ryan saying a bunch of stuff, and that's just his coaching and motivation style. That's the way I look at it.
Right before I go to Bones, because I think he has something to say about Rex Ryan, one thing I do want to mention is, yeah, I agree with you, that's Rex Ryan's style, but I promise you, if Rex Ryan didn't come out last season, guaranteeing a lot of things with the type of talent he did have, which was a really bad talent, he probably wouldn't be in the hot seat that he was come week 15. I think he puts a big target on himself, and that New York media doesn't hold back.
Well, I think I'm sorry, and I know you're going to go to Bones, but I think Rex was gone either way. I think Rex, if Rex couldn't put that together, if he couldn't put together a successful season and at least get us to the playoffs, he was going to get fired. That's factual. But there was no way he was ever going to do that under John Idzik, because John Idzik didn't know how to draft and was a complete idiot.
But let me ask you this: if Rex Ryan would have shut his mouth and not be Rex Ryan last season, everybody could have had the argument stating that it was John Idzik that didn't give enough talent, and Rex Ryan wouldn't have come out and promoted the team as he did before the season. Because if you remember last season, everyone's talking about, well, some of the people were talking about Jets might being even a Super Bowl team last year.
Last year?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember there were.
Who told you that?
There was a lot of fans, not New York Jets fans.
Listen. I don't know who told you that. I don't know who said that to you, but whoever, if they're not like your family, if they're just like some friends, delete their number, get rid of their contacts, stop following them on social media, get rid of those people, because they are out to get you, bro. They don't know what they're talking about. There's no way in the world that I ever thought that we were going to win a Super Bowl last year.
I didn't either.
Did you see our secondary was a trash can in the winter, cold garbage.
Oh my God.
Cold garbage. These guys are listen. Let's not listen. Trash. There was no way he was going to take that team to a Super Bowl. But Rex, if you look at what Rex did from the time that he got here till last year, he toned down a lot. He toned down a lot of what he said. A lot of what you saw out of Rex last year was frustration. Frustration because he was not given the tools to succeed. That's what I'm saying. It didn't matter what Rex did. He was going to get fired. You want to know why? Because if you look at our roster last year. Complete garbage. I'm talking about our secondary was trash. It was one of the worst defenses he's ever had since he's been here. Yeah. We had number 7 defense overall with corners that couldn't cover a bed with a bed sheet. These guys were trash. And he gave us the number 7 defense overall. Number 7.
No, I like Rex.
What else could he have done? He couldn't have done any more. Like, Rex was good at what he was good at, and that's part of the reason he got fired too. He wasn't an offensive mind. But there's many coaches in the league, and I just want to say this because I'm sorry we're going off like this, but I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm sorry. Yeah. There's many coaches in this league that aren't. That are heavy on one side of the ball. And one guy, and I'm calling him out, his name is Sean Payton, okay? Sean Payton is an offensive guru. That's all he does. The Saints defense...
Well, yeah, he was our offensive coordinator back in the day.
The Saints, since he's been there, have been trash on defense. Trash, complete garbage. No one ever talks about firing him, ever. No one ever talks about firing Sean Payton. But when Rex had us at top 5 defensively, one year we were number 1, people were talking about getting rid of him left and right because he couldn't develop an offense.
2 different markets.
Nobody talks about
New Orleans versus New York.
Dude, it is what it is, though. It is what it is. If you're not, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sean Payton never developed defense until Greg got there, and when Greg was gone, that defense went right back to where it was. And
that's exactly how y'all beat the Saints last time.
Exactly.
Man. They couldn't even stop Ivory, bro.
I was just about to go there. That's why I brought up Sean Payton, because I was going to go there. Because that's how we smoked the Saints. They can't stop anybody. But everybody wants to talk about firing Rex every single time. Well, his offense is trash. His defense is great. Offense is trash. Well, Sean Payton's offense is great. His defense
and Rex
is trash.
Ryan is a defensive guy.
Exactly. He's a defensive guy. But going back to what we were talking about, like I said, whether Rex, it doesn't matter what Rex was going to do, he was going to get fired. And he was going to get fired because you have to fire him because we had to get a new GM in there. And no GM, we would have never gotten Mike McCagnon. I don't think we ever would have got him.
Oh, my God.
We would have never have got him if Rex was still here because Rex wasn't his coach. Rex was the guy that he picked. And GMs, they come in.
Woody Johnson cleaned that place up.
Yeah, he had to. I don't think Woody wanted to fire him. I don't think Woody wanted to fire him at all.
I mean, what he did, I thought was very gutsy. He took a good control of his franchise, was able to kind of turn it around. And right before I go to Bones, I promise you I'm going to come to you. One thing I promise about one thing I like about Todd Bowles is...
No, it's cool, man.
Sorry.
Todd Bowles came out, and he did say that he's going to focus a lot more on the offensive side of the ball because that's where his weakness is. And I can appreciate that, from a coach. Bones, tell me about Rex Ryan. I know you had a couple of comments about Rex.
It might be a tiny bit off topic, but
that's all right.
One of my favorite Rex Ryan moments was when you guys were playing the Washington Redskins and how you completely torched their secondary so damn bad. And one of the reasons was Rex Ryan was getting under D'Angelo Hall's skin so bad. He was saying some shit like
Rex
you're the most overrated fucking cornerback. That's why my brother got rid of your ass.
Yeah, I remember.
I was dying, bro.
I remember that.
I was freaking dying.
No, I remember that.
Like,
for sure.
Because not only does he talk trash to motivate his teammates, but he does it to get under his skin. And Buddy Ryan did the same exact thing. Everybody hated Buddy Ryan back in the day.
You give Rex Ryan the players need it, he's definitely going to provide for you. I'll tell you what, Rex Ryan, from the year that he stepped into the New York Jets, he put us on the map. I mean, we owe him 2 AFC championships. I'm not going to forget any of those moments. We came short against one of them was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The other one was Indianapolis Colts, was it?
Yeah, you guys had me fooled 2010. You guys had me fucking fooled.
Yeah.
I literally did thought you guys were going to go all the way on that year. You guys had a beast freaking defense that year.
Yeah, I mean, that was the year we also had LaDainian Tomlinson too, right?
Yeah. You guys, oh man. I was bamboozled.
Joe, with the draft and everything, I kind of want to get your take now, since we did one pre-draft and after draft. Who's going to win the AFC East, and would there be a wild card coming from the AFC East? Just a fan's perspective. I know it's kind of a broad.
Yeah, because the last time we kind of talked about, I mean, like it's the same. If you look at us on paper, I think that I think that you could argue that might be the strongest team in the AFC East, because the Patriots have little to no secondary.
They've lost a lot of weapons.
They've lost a lot of stuff, and their offense is still. I mean, they have solid wide receivers. Guys have been there, but still, their backfield is still questionable. Buffalo has some of the. The Buffalo definitely has the tools. They have the defense. They have Rex. Their offense, Matt Castle, Roman is out there. His offensive coordinator, which again just tells you that Rex cannot find an offensive coordinator to save his life. So you got to wonder about Roman and his offense and that offense that will Rex. Like I said, he still doesn't have a quarterback that I think can get it done. Then you look at the Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins are in it. They have a good wide receiver. I forgot the name of the kid that they drafted, the wide receiver, but I think he's going to be decent. But I don't know if they're ready yet. I don't know. I think I never count the Patriots out, so I'll say that they'll win the division and they will come out of the wild card. I think that, like I said, I think we at least go 10-6, 9-7, 10-6, maybe 11-5.
Yeah. Okay. That's all the questions I have, guys. I mean, if there's anything you guys want to add or ask away, please do. Joe, Bones, anybody?
I feel that we've gotten a lot out of the way there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to ask you about Quentin Coples. What are your thoughts about Quentin Coples? And do you think that this is like a make or break year for him?
I think so. I think he's in the same situation that Geno Smith is in. He's in the same situation that I don't know, any position that we have a lot of depth in. I think that's one thing we did with the draft is we have a lot of depth, and a lot of guys are gonna have to step up when it's training camp time. And Coples has been mediocre at best. I mean, he's had a couple of significant games here or there, but I don't know what to make out of Coples, to be honest. I mean, now the fact that we drafted what's his name, Malden, and we got D. Harris in the linebacking core. I really, honestly, I don't know what to make out of Coples just because he's been so unpredictable. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's just
no. Yeah, that definitely answers my question. I think the same thing. I think that Quentin, this is a put up or shut up year for him because he hasn't done much. I think that he's more of a pass rusher. He's the guy that needs to have his hand in the dirt. Yeah. I don't think he should be dropping back at all because his cover skills are.
I kind of have a question after this.
Yeah, go ahead, Bones.
Maybe you guys have already talked about this, but what are your thoughts on your new head coach?
Oh, Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
I'll go first if that's okay. I like Todd Bowles. I think one thing that I really like about these fresh coordinators that are becoming head coaches, their playbook is fresh. They're pretty unpredictable. I think he's going to be able to come in and just do what Rex Ryan did on the defensive side, if not a little bit more aggressive on the defensive side. And I think if we got any defensive-minded coach that was open-minded to the offense, I think Todd Bowles will definitely be the guy. Joe?
And Cardinals had a really good defense last year. So
yeah, they did.
You guys must be pretty psyched about that.
Yeah, I think that Todd Bowles is going to be. I think he's solid. His defensive scheme, I think, fits us. One thing I was impressed about with Todd Bowles, if you watch the Cardinals games when he was the coordinator there, he did a lot with a little. When guys went down, Darnell Dockett was down for them throughout the year. He's a huge defensive tackle, a great pass rusher for them. I mean, he can't play the run to save his life, but he's a great pass rusher for them and a big part of their defense. When he went down, that defense just kept kind of chugging along. He was able to fit different guys in with different skill sets and make them work at those positions. And I think that is a telltale sign that he's probably going to be successful here because we have the same pieces. Like I said, Muhammad Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, they're great players. They're great defensive linemen. But we also have guys like the Jay Duzable and Harrison and T.J. Barnes and Jason Babin and, all these other guys that are going to be quality depth guys. So he's going to be able to put those guys into different pieces and different roles and still make it look the same, still make it work. He also did some of that in the secondary as well when he was with the Cardinals. That's something else that impressed me. And we have some of those same problems here because our safeties aren't the best.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah, this goes into a question I was going to ask about Calvin Pryor. Something I want to that I'm looking forward to him doing with Calvin Pryor, which they've already talked about, is moving Calvin Pryor from free safety to strong safety because he has no business covering anybody. I wouldn't let Calvin Pryor cover my news. He has no business doing any of that. Calvin Pryor needs to be in the box. He needs to be slamming and hitting people, period. And that's what he's best at. And they've talked about that, and he's also talked about it, not just on Twitter. He also tweeted out, Calvin Pryor also tweeted out that he's getting back to his natural position. He's getting back to where he needs to be. So I think that that's something that I definitely look forward to seeing about Todd Bowles' system is how does it fit Calvin Pryor? How do we get the best out of this first-round pick, this guy we drafted? Can he make him a Pro Bowler? And that's also on Casey Rogers, too, because Casey Rogers is also our defensive coordinator. So I think that Todd's scheme is going to fit here. I loved it when he was with the Cardinals. He's talked about playing complementary football, which means we're not going to get away from running the football. And, he's got Chan Gailey. So it's not like he has a slouch on offense, as an offensive coordinator either. So I liked it. I loved it.
I want to ask you guys what your take on Gilchrist is. And also, I know Night of the Shield is watching, too, since he's a Raiders fan and they face the Chargers twice a year. I would like to see what Night of the Shield comments, what his take is on Gilchrist and us signing him. Joe and Bones, if you guys are familiar with Gilchrist, go ahead and take on.
I think Gilchrist was a quality signing. I think Gilchrist steps in as our free safety, our starting free safety, which really makes me want to cry because I love Antonio Allen. I think Antonio Allen is a great free safety. I think he's a guy that hasn't had enough chances on our team to play free safety, and when he has, he's shown flashes. He actually helped us win a game against the Patriots covering Gronk. He's done a lot of different things, but for whatever reason, when Ed Reed got on his team, Rex Ryan sat Antonio Allen down, and we haven't heard from him or seen him since then. He's been on the back of a milk carton. So I think that with Gilchrist, you put him in a free safety role. He's another guy that's versatile. He can cover different guys. He can cover tight ends. He can do a lot of different things coming down in the slot. So that's what I like about Gilchrist. And I think, and it's crazy we just talked about Calvin Pryor because I think that opens up the competition at strong safety with Antonio Allen, Jaquan Jarrett, and Calvin Pryor for that strong safety position. Or it even leaves Antonio Allen to be in that rotation at free safety. So that's what I think Gilchrist was a solid quality signing.
Going to a front office, I'm really happy. This is kind of off topic, but it's nice to kind of wake up and not know that the Jets are going to be in the front cover. It might just be the Giants or somebody else. But
wait, are you talking about Madden, bro?
No. I'm talking about how every day Rex Ryan had a headline in New York, and I'm really happy the fact that we're not headlining anything anymore. The Eagles are now since they got Tim Tebow. Bones, what do you think is who's going to win the NFC East?
Who's going to win the NFC East? That's the thing with the NFC East has been very unpredictable since like 2007. I mean, you've had multiple teams win the division. Like 1 year it'll be the Giants, and then it's the Cowboys, then the Redskins, and even the Eagles. They've had I remember when the Eagles won they won the division 4 years in a row, in the early 2000s.
Donovan
McNabb. Yeah, and after when Donovan McNabb was starting to age, the NFC East has been very competitive, and I feel that every single team in the NFC East is drafted pretty well. They've had some reasonable signings in free agency. Uh, I would say that the division might come down to either Giants and Cowboys. To be honest,
Yeah.
I do feel that the Cowboys. It's right now. It's looking that the Cowboys are most likely to win the East, but it's still very unpredictable. Like it could be anywhere. Hell, even the Redskins. It might even come down to Cowboys and Redskins. You just never know.
Yeah.
We're a very unpredictable division. It's a roller coaster every year.
I see the Redskins to me as the weakest link, and with the Eagles situation, I just don't see how you're gonna have Bradford
Oh
again.
man, no, the Eagles
injured.
they might have a tough year. I mean, because what Chip Kelly is doing is it's a huge rebuilding process. I mean, all those players that he got rid of, those are Andy Reid's leftovers, and
Yeah.
I hate to admit this, but Andy Reid is like one of the best coaches that the Eagles have ever had.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they let him go like that. And with Chip Kelly trying to make this whole weird offensive scheme and, trying to make it like a huge weird college offense, sometimes that just doesn't work in the NFL. And I feel that it might just be their downfall.
I know exactly what you mean. I don't want to defend the Eagles for the decision they made with Andy Reid, but Andy Reid did have his, what is it? How many years was he in Philadelphia? Like 8 years?
I would
He was there for a while, and I can only imagine. Yeah.
What his problem was, though. What his problem was, I never understood it, but his main problem was he barely stayed with the run. And and they've had good running backs like Westbrook. Before they had McCoy, they had Westbrook. All these good guys, and then what you would be scratching your heads if you were an Eagles fan. Why in God's name are they abandoning the run most of the time? And that was mostly Andy Reid's decision.
Yeah.
That's what bit them most of the time.
Yeah. Joe, any takes on Chip Kelly or?
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing out there. He's making a lot of crazy trades and a lot of crazy things. I was with him. I understood the Kiko Alonso trade and giving McCoy to the Bills. I actually liked that trade. I think that Kiko Alonso is one of the better young linebackers in the league. He's gotten injured.
Injury prone.
Yeah, well, he had that one injury. I think it was ACL. I don't know if he tore his MCL, but I know he tore his ACL. But he's a young guy. He'll come back from that. But if you look at his production before that, I think he's like top 3 tackles for a linebacker in the league. And I mean, he was solid. Like his first year, I remember him. He was nuts. He was everywhere. So I think that trade definitely helps the Eagles defense. But some of the other stuff that he did, I don't know.
I feel that he actually kind of was trying to get Marcus Mariota, and I just feel the Titans were like, nah, we don't want those trades. We're just going to take them from you.
Yeah, that's what I think. Maybe that was the deal. That would definitely kind of.
That had to have been the deal because I completely don't understand their offense at all. The only thing they got good going for them is DeMarco Murray. And let me tell you a weird conspiracy with running backs. Whoever had like a breakout season, whoever ran more than 1,000 yards in one season, they're not the same the next season. So DeMarco Murray might have a down year this coming season.
I mean, I just kind of look at their offense and I just wonder. I wonder, how they keep Bradford upright because they have some issues on the offensive line. I don't know. And if you don't keep Bradford upright, you're gonna get him hurt because that's what's happened. That's what happened in St. Louis for all those years he was there. That's what can happen with him in Philly. So I don't know what's going on because he still has Mark Sanchez there too. Her receiving core isn't as good as it once was. He got rid of Deshaun Jackson. He got rid of Jeremy Maclin's gone now. It's like, what is going on here? He still has Cooper. That's the only guy that he's got. And I forgot the kid that they drafted this year as well. But I don't know about the Eagles. I don't know what Chip Kelly's doing, and I don't know if he should have been given the reins over there and been allowed to deal with their personnel. Maybe that should have just been given to someone else, and he should have been, just stuck to, just being a coach, and that's it.
The way I see what the Redskins are doing, they're trying to build like a huge offensive line. They really want to. They actually
RG3.
that means they believe in RG3 and they really want to protect this guy because if he gets hurt again, he's not even going to play another down.
Well, I don't know if it's that the Redskins necessarily believe in RG3. I think that Sheriff was a solid pick. I think it's a safe pick. And
Oh, absolutely. We wanted
yeah,
that guy. That was a steal from us.
Yeah, I don't think that investing in your offensive line is about at least to me, investing in their offensive line is necessarily about RG3 as it is about, okay, if this guy isn't going to perform, then who's next up? And if whoever we have that's next up, because maybe, they could move up and get Mariota or Winston if that's who they wanted. Well, whoever is next up, guess what? We're going to have to protect him. So why don't we just go line now, get the best offensive line, a guy that can play guard or tackle, which in this league a lot of people saying he'll play guard, but you never know. In different schemes, different guys, maybe a guy has him out right tackle like a lot of people are saying he's going to play. And we protect whoever the incumbent quarterback is, whoever, maybe he's on the roster, maybe he's not. But either way, we're going to have to protect him. So I think that was a solid move by the Redskins. And I think that's just a solid move for the franchise. If you look at offensive linemen in the first round, they're the safest pick, surest bet.
Since we're talking a little bit general football, I want to ask this to you guys. Do you guys buy? What do you buy more? Is it Mariota or is it James Winston? And do you take their obviously teams into perspective? I can't see how many weapons Tennessee has. I see Winston being in a better position as far as Tampa Bay is concerned. I mean, who do you buy more, Bones? Is it Mariota or is it Winston?
I'm going to say Winston.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Winston, but that's if he could keep his act together.
That's the thing. Winston, imagine Winston in New York. I mean, he would get dissected in every side, and he would be such a distraction to a team. But I feel like Buccaneers market, it's much more safer. Joe, what's your take on?
It's safer because he's kind of like at home.
Yeah, exactly. He's a Florida kid, so.
Winston to me is the more talented one, but just like Bone said, it depends on if this guy can stay on the field because he is a nut job. Like we talked about him before, and I said
that's
on
what
here,
I'm saying.
Yeah, he's crazy. Like this dude is crazy. Like he really is crazy. If you go back to his history, from stealing from Burger King to stealing crab legs to the rape charge to doing.
If you've seen his videos, he's a pretty witty dude, man.
I mean, he's crazy. He's out there, and then he was in the middle of the campus yelling sexual obscenities. Like this guy, or expletives. This guy he's not like, he's a couple, tacos short of a fiesta. Like this guy he's not all there. A couple of sandwiches short of a picnic. Like this guy isn't all there, man. Like there's something going on with Winston. But if you can kind of rope that all in and you can get this guy to just relax and and play the quarterback position, and you can kind of get him to be a professional, I think that he's hands down he was the most talented quarterback in that draft. He's the most NFL ready quarterback in that draft. But there's just so many question marks about his personality. I don't know what to make of him. Mariota's a smart guy. I think he'll work into the system. Like they got some weapons out there in Tennessee. Their tight end Delanie Walker, I think, is a guy that's.
I think they're going to be third place at best.
I don't even think they're going to be third place. They have a lot of void of talent. Like that defense is.
Man, you gotta look at the Jacksons.
When it comes to the Texans, I'll tell you one thing. When it comes to the Texans defense, I think Mariota is going to have a lot of growing pains.
Yeah, he's going to get smacked around a lot.
Yeah,
he's going to get smacked around a lot. So
yep.
I think that Winston's might actually be better for maybe his first year in the pros, maybe 2 years. But I think that Mariota's if Tennessee gets the weapons there and they're able to work on stuff, I think you'll see Mariota maybe get ahead of him a little bit.
Knight left that Gilchrist is a solid pickup, and then he also wanted me to let Bones know attack Bones with eagle speed.
Attack Bones with eagle speed. Oh my God. Are you talking about the trash talking circle punching bag guy?
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Oh man. Well, what does he want to know about Eagle Speed?
I don't know. He just said attack Bones with Eagle Speed. LOL.
Oh, well, hey, all you got to do is call him the TTC punching bag because that's what he's been for quite some time. But he actually, you know what? He actually is getting back. I'll give him a little credit of what he's doing because he's actually a little entertaining. He can be funny at times.
Yeah.
But that's just Eagle Speed.
Guys, any other questions? Because I don't have any. So if you guys have any questions, definitely ask away. But I appreciate everyone coming on. Again, I'm really hoping.
I actually do have a question. What do you feel about the trash talking circle?
Who, me? I think it's entertaining. I think it's entertaining. I think sometimes though it does take its spin on personal attacks and things like that where I don't think it's cool. But again,
well, some people get a little too. The way I see it, a lot of people get a little too sensitive about it. You just gotta have like thick skin. Just break each other's balls once in a while, and But most of the time, yeah, I would say keep it football because that's what the trash talking is really there for. You want to like talk shit about football, but
yeah.
No, I can kind of understand where you're going with it, but to me it is what it is. Like there's gonna be personal attacks, it's one thing to like break balls, but sometimes it does have its moments where it goes a little too far.
Well, here's the thing: is about 85% of the time. I mean, especially the guys that have been doing it for a while, you can see that, they're trying to keep it all strictly football, and it's about 15% of the people who, take those personal shots that make those people who are usually talking about football 80% of the time, make them fire back and say something. And I guess sometimes you just got to have a comeback. But I mean, if you take my perspective on the TTC, again, I think it's entertaining. I think it's fun. I think it's creative. But sometimes I think it's very creative. Actually, you do some creative pieces.
Yeah.
And especially what's that guy with that movie? He keeps laughing. That's so annoying, man. It's in your videos. What's his name? Tom Hanks. What movie is that? I've always wanted to ask.
That's from The Money Pit.
Okay. Yeah.
That's from The Money Pit, yeah.
No, that's really my.
If I find something that's really, really laughable, or if I don't believe that person, I'll just throw that clip in.
Yeah. Joe, you got a take on that, or?
Yeah, a lot of it's crazy because I do videos on my channel, and people always ask me if I want to join the TTC and different things like that. And I kind of have the same feelings on it that you have, Nick Bros. It's like, yeah, sometimes like I subscribe to Jay Watt as well. I think he's in the TTC.
Oh, Jay Watt's the shit, man.
Or he might still be in it, or might not. Yeah, and so I would see his videos, but I'd never knew what the TTC was exactly because I was never a part of it and I never really looked for it. But I would see his videos on it.
Jay Watt's football.
Yeah, he would say
he'll throw a few insults there, but the thing with Jay Watt, at least it's funny.
Yeah, so he would say he would do his TTC videos, and like I said, I didn't understand what they were until I understood what TTC was and what it was about. And I mean, I guess they were football stuff, but I'd seen other stuff where it wasn't funny, and it was a lot of racist comments, and it was a lot of like you said, personal attacks and things that weren't football and weren't funny. So that's why I would never participate in it because it's just not me. I just like talking about football and I like talking about my team. I don't knock it. I don't disrespect it. Like I said, some of the time when I would see Jay Watt, he would be going off about the Eagles or the Redskins or whatever. It would be funny. But like I said, there would be some times where stuff wasn't so funny or wasn't funny at all. And it was a lot of personal attacks and a lot of different things. So, to each his own. If you enjoy doing it, hey, Bones, keep doing it. And I hope you guys have a good time over there in TCC for sure.
Bones, I think it's one of those things where, you start something and, everyone has this perception of unwritten rules and things you can do and things you can't do. And I think after a while, the bigger and bigger it gets, there's certain people that haven't been accustomed to the culture of that one thing will take advantage of it and just take it to a whole different level. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so, but either way, I mean, I think you do a creative job. There's a lot of you guys out there just creative things, and it's pretty entertaining, and I watch it. But again,
that's how I feel. That's how I feel that it should be most of the time. Just entertaining. Like it doesn't have because if you were to just the way I see it. if you were to just like stand there and just talk like every year, you know, it kind of does get a bit stale. I kind of like, you know, throw some clips and make it entertaining, or post like a movie clip that somewhat has to do with like a football game that's going on, or I'll play a song in the background for, let's say, has to do with the Atlanta. Let's say I put in a music, the Devil Went Down to Georgia, Atlanta,
Yeah.
Georgia. You know, the Giants are playing the Falcons. I'm playing that for entertainment and acting all goofy and shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's if you want to like people to watch you, you at least want to be just a slight entertainment, have like some music, like some people that others would like. Like if you think you would enjoy, they would enjoy. I
Awesome. And again, go ahead, Bones.
Nah, that's how I just feel that it should be, you know.
Yeah. Guys, again, thanks for coming on. Joe, again, like always, it's a Jets fan with a lot of information. Bones, first time we've been able to talk on here. Again, please check out his channel. He does a lot of, he's a huge Giants fan. Joe, I'm going to let you, finish off, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, again, man, I want to thank you for having me on your show, man. It's always awesome to talk to you on your channel and, swap our thoughts about the Jets. You know, like you said, we're Jets fans. You know, we definitely, have a lot of chemistry and rapport for each other. And even though we don't always agree on everything, we definitely...
There's mutual respect.
Yeah, definitely. Mutual respect for sure. And tell your brother I said hello, man. He's always...
I would like to meet your brother on here.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to get you guys all hooked up on a Google Hangout once. Talk about Giants football. So
yeah, I'm definitely available. Like towards like Monday and Tuesday nights. So
gotcha. I'll let him know. Hit me up on Twitter and we'll kind of go from there.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, thank you so much. Subscribe, comment, and have a good night.